Hey everybody, it's Casey. Casey's on the case. I always feel so weird saying that about myself.
You are on the case, though.
I
That's your
am though.
thing.
I'm always on the case.
And I'm Stephanie, Casey's hype girl, co-host. We'll
You
figure it
keep
out.
downgrading yourself from co-host, but the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive so
Oh,
far.
yeah. Well, every sport needs a casual fan like me, even though I grew up playing soccer just like you. But it's fine. I was just there for the good times.
Yeah, but being here at the good times, I wish I could be a casual. I keep talking about how when the Bay Area gets a WNBA team, I'm gonna be a casual fan, and I'm excited about that. And I was talking to my dad about this, and he's like, "Well, but we have to know like some of the stuff." And then like
Yeah.
immediately we get into this debate about like different basketball things, and I'm like, I have never been casual about anything a day in my life. I'm just not. So,
I
but
call
I'm glad that you
myself,
can provide the perspective.
yeah, I call myself type B plus, like not quite type A. So I just like to be, type B plus, a little under A. So just care enough to know, but I don't need it. It's chill.
This is not planned, but I think this is a great time to tell everyone the story of my bachelorette party scavenger hunt. Which
Yes,
is,
please.
just for context, like I am a competitive asshole. Everyone knows this about me. I take everything a little too seriously. And at my bachelorette party, we had a scavenger hunt planned across Vancouver. And thankfully, a lot of people had the foresight to realize that perhaps not everybody would like to be on my team. And maybe some people just wanted a nice time. Because despite this being my personality, I actually have quite a large number of friends who are a little less intense. And so Stephanie and a few of other people at my bachelorette party separated into a team called We're Just Here to Have a Nice Time.
Yeah.
And the rest of the competitive assholes got put on two other teams. And we were vicious. We're sprinting around Vancouver and like going hard. And like I think I like physically bodied my sister at one point, like to grab a clue. We're going hard. And we're sprinting back. And the team, We're Just Here to Have a Nice Time, beat us all by like 30 minutes. It
Yeah.
was not it was not close. They've all like gotten a coffee. They're just chilling. So that
Cheers.
was that was brutal, but also hilarious.
Oh, I've forgotten about that. Thank you for reminding me. Thank you. I was also pregnant at the time, so
Yeah, there were a lot of highlights because you did your first karaoke experience too on that.
yep, yep. To Man, I Feel Like a Woman, Shania Twain,
Yeah,
very visibly pregnant,
yeah,
rocking out to that song.
it was great. It was a hit. It was probably like the karaoke hit of the night.
Thank you, thank you. And I was dying inside, but I did my best.
And I honestly like bless you for doing it. I don't know how you get through. Well, I mean, like again, I think you can get through a bachelorette party sober, but like it's a rough go, man. It's a rough go.
It was fun. It was fun.
Speaking of fun, Olympics.
Yeah.
So if you listened to us last episode, we're going to start this off again. Before we actually talk soccer, we're going to talk about a few other sports you like. So just fast forward through this if you don't care about the rest of it and you just like into soccer. But for Sandy Pride here, we got to talk about Mondo. Um, Armand Gustave Duplantis. The
Mm.
Duplantis is apparently an American last name, but the Swedes still really get into it. And they call him Mondo for short. This, first of all, sets the world record, is the only one jumping at that point. Is it jumping when you're vaulting or is it a vault? I don't know what the technical term is
Vaulting,
here. It's
vaulting.
vaulting. You don't
Yeah.
jump it, you vault it.
Yes.
And he is like me, Swedish American.
I was gonna
And
say, he's from
yeah,
Louisiana.
yes. And he learned Swedish quite late, it appears. So I think he, similar to me, grew up hearing it, learned it later because apparently you can make a ton more money doing track and field in Europe than you can in the US. That's why he's over there. For those wondering why this guy from LSU is competing for Sweden and can barely speak Swedish. It is financial. But his Swedish, and like apparently he's a little insecure about it. So like I hear you, Mondo. There's a reason that I am the only one in my Swedish American family of the cousins that speak Swedish. It's brutal. It is hard to do.
Yeah.
But his interview where he's like been out partying all night is
Oh, I didn't.
incredible. Incredible with the Swedish media. It's like half in English. My personal favorite line is when he's just like, they make ingen sense. Just like
Oh boy.
national treasure. So congrats to him. One of Sweden's three gold medals so far. So that's been a highlight for me this week.
Yeah. One highlight for me, and I'll admit I didn't actually watch the event, but I was excited to see the headline. The youngest women's American wrestler, she's 20. She is from our hometown where we went to high school, Walnut Creek, California. Fun fact, Casey and I went to the same high school but didn't really know each other. Or maybe you knew of me, but I didn't know of you only because I was older. I'm not famous
We
or
were never
anything.
there at the same time, is
No,
I think
no.
also a thing to clarify. So I think I met you at like one alumni soccer game, maybe in passing. Like I
Yeah.
think you came back for like your freshman year of college for the alumni game.
Proof I
Oh.
did play soccer. And
No,
I was
that
on
was it.
varsity. Wasn't a
Yeah,
starter, but I was there.
you were there for a good time.
Yes. But yes, she's from Walnut Creek. Women's wrestling. Who knew?
We love to see it. We have a lot of famous people from Walnut Creek.
Please
Do
tell me
do
more.
you know who the two most famous alums from our high school are?
You?
No. There's two that are like legitimate like
No,
people that
who?
know them. Okay, so it's Survivor winner Yul Kwon, Northgate
Okay.
alum,
Okay.
and WWE diva Eva Marie.
Oh. So wrestling.
Yeah, we have a
Oh.
big wrestling history in Walnut Creek.
Yes. Okay. I never tried wrestling, but maybe I could have excelled at that. I would have to be in the smaller class at only 5'2", but and another exciting race. Did you watch the 1500 men's race?
I did. It was glorious. So I did not know that Jakob Ingebrigtsen. I don't know how to Jacob Ingebrigtsen.
Jakob
I think
Ingebrigtsen.
I want to American it. So I didn't know he's a reality TV star.
Well, his story is kind of sad a little bit. He had a
Oh.
reality show about middle distance running, him and his brothers, but he actually came out somewhat recently against his father and coach, who was not a very nice person to him. He was abusive and things like that. So it's kind of sad. But Jakob, am I saying that right?
You're doing pretty good.
Okay. He is just very egotistical, which you do have to be a little bit egotistical to be an Olympian, I think, but just really, really didn't come off as a nice person. He had this big rivalry with the runner from Great Britain, and Cole Hawker from the US at the last couple meters ended up beating him and the guy from Great Britain. So I feel bad for him, but he kind of had it coming. He was just
Well, and he like gives up at the end almost
gave
because he
up.
doesn't even medal. It's like once he saw gold go away, he just kind of I don't know if he legit ran out of gas or if he just ran out of
Yeah.
motivation. But yeah, but for Cole Hawker, that was a really fun race, and I enjoyed that as an American.
Yes.
So but I was really hoping when we said Norwegian reality TV, I was hoping he'd been on like Paradise Hotel or
No.
something funny because like
It
that
was a show
happens
about
in.
him.
Yeah, it happens in the Nordic countries sometimes. You can be on Paradise Hotel and marry a prince. You can do that. So
No, I'm sorry to disappoint, but I am curious about in his interviews, he lives in a very nice home. I would like a home tour of his house. He has a really cute kitchen that I want more pictures of. But yeah, he just wasn't very likable. But you know me, I like good sportsmanship, and he's just not
yeah,
one.
no, didn't seem like it. Which I guess we had a fun. We're gonna maybe do this. We'll see if
Yeah.
we keep doing this. Depends on if we keep getting comments like this. But we had a comment of the week that this was like eavesdropping on a fun dinner conversation, which that was music to our ears.
Yeah. Thank
So
you. Thank you.
yeah.
So, okay, so I love eavesdropping on other conversations. But have you ever had one memorable time when you've eavesdropped on someone else's conversation?
I have the most memorable time, and we will see if we keep this in.
Okay.
But it was like, so, and we still reference this now. It's been 4 years since it happened. And basically, like, so Dan and I were away for our wedding anniversary. This was like during COVID. This was 2020. So, like, the hotel we'd stayed at did not have breakfast there. I had been assured that there were options. And then when I got there, it was like you could DoorDash from Denny's. And we're like, this is sad. We're not doing that. So we find like a restaurant in driving distance from the hotel that has pretty good reviews. And we get there, except for their outdoor dining situation is just like the asphalt parking lot. And it starts getting really hot. And
Yeah.
like we are substantially more hungover than we had perceived when we first left the hotel. Like we didn't realize this. And it's getting hot, we're hungover, and this family sits down like right behind me. And it's a family of like 6. So 4 kids, then the 2 parents. And the mom is just going. She's a yapper. And I'm a yapper too, so I get it. But like it is just her. It is just her going. And she's at this volume where you can't turn it off, especially not hungover.
Aw.
And she's just talking about things where I'm like, what are we why are we doing this here? And like we're in complete silence. It's the kind of conversation and volume where like you can't even keep your own conversation going because like this is just in your head.
Uh-huh.
And she talks about the time the family turtle died. And apparently the kids had been told it ran away, but it didn't. It had like basically gotten trapped in the pool cleaning filter and like cooked itself on a hot day. And she's like talking about this very slowly. And she's like, and that's it, Bob's dead.
So she was telling the kids what had really happened.
Yeah, I guess she had forgotten she had not actually told them.
Wow.
And just like goes through this whole thing, and everybody can hear. Like this is the only thing anybody's listening to. And finally, I get a text from Dan because she's still going. I get a text from Dan like 30 seconds later, and he's like, "I think Bob had the right idea."
Wait, he texted you from across the table?
Oh yeah. We do that all the time when we're eavesdropping. All the time.
I mean, don't we all? But
well, I'm so loud. So again, like sympathy to the loud folks. Like I'm sure I have been the eavesdropped fun conversation many a time. But like you will hear me if I talk. There's nothing subtle about it. So like we will be texting.
oh man, that's pretty bad. And that conversation will stick with those kids for their entire life. I guarantee you those kids are telling this very story right now
Yeah.
to somebody.
Yeah. And now anytime I get somewhere, we just hear something loud. We don't even have to text it. We just go, Bob's dead. Bob's dead. So
Oh, rest in peace.
yeah.
R.I.P.
So okay. Well, we should probably get to the soccer.
Yeah, let's get to US versus Germany. Tell us all about it.
So not our best first half, let's just be honest. It was fantastic defending from Naomi Guerin. This was a clinic both on her own like individual defending, on her positional placement, on her attacking. She was incredible throughout the game, but especially in the first half, had a lot of work to do. As did Crystal Dunn and as did Emily Fox. All 3 had quite a bit of work to do. So, they kind of came with a mid-block journey, a little similar to what Japan did, but not quite.
What do you mean by that? What is, for the casual fans out there, what do you mean by that?
Okay, so a mid-block, and we can do a video like with the whiteboard because I know people like that. But so a low block is when you sit even further back. You're basically committing to not letting anybody, we're going to let you hold possession, but we're going to sit back in our final third and prevent you from kind of coming back in there. The mid block is when you do a similar thing, but you're going to sit a little bit higher. So you're still very disciplined in your structures and in your defending. It's just about the mid versus low is just really about where on the field are we going to make it difficult for you to advance the ball. And in a low block, you're really talking about all your defenders being back in their own box. With a mid block, like you'll see that higher line. So there is space to get in behind them, but you're condensing the space for the midfield to play.
Okay.
So that's just kind of the deal. And they were doing it, but they were also pressing more, which is what Japan didn't do. So, and it was kind of interesting to me because I'm sitting there and I'm like, we are way faster than your back line. If we start playing the balls in behind, you're going to be in trouble. But it can be really difficult to start getting that distribution going when you've got the mid block for the same reasons we saw against Japan. It's just a little bit hard to, unless you play a double pivot and bring 2 defensive midfielders back to sit in that space, it can be very difficult to get the balls going, or you have a really strong ball playing center back. That's kind of the way you get around it. So that's part of why Rilla is such a standout this team, is because she could provide that distribution. That's really where you have the ability to distribute from. And then the other thing you saw is at extra time. Extra time, when we subbed in, Corbin Albert, and you did actually have a double pivot. You did have two defensive mids. You started to get more opportunities for Sam Coffey to play the ball through. The space there changes because you can now control the midfield. You have more options to look for lanes there. So that's sort of what's happening here. And it's been challenging because it looks so different with the formations and how we're tracking and why is someone out wide and why is someone not. But that's what the challenge has been. So I think like on the whole, as we move forward, we talk about like post Olympics, this team looks so good at what it can give in the front line and in the back line, and it's just sorting the midfield.
Okay. All right.
We'll see.
What about Horan? Let's talk about Horan, because there's a lot of feelings.
There's a lot of feelings, and like, you know, this game, so what you noticed this game was that Rose Lavelle was the one, I think, deliberately tasked with swinging wide, and we saw Mal Swanson staying more central and coming deeper and, you know, dropping into the midfield, which I don't love personally always, unless there's like actual deliberate space being created to have somebody from the front line coming back that much.
Why did Emma Hayes decide to do that with her?
Well, I think the idea is that she's a pretty good play creator and that you're going to then allow Rose Lavelle or Lindsey Horan will then provide the width. And so it's a little bit harder to start tracking runners if they're not going to places you think they're going to go. The problem is you're kind of putting Mal Swanson in a spot where as she's dropping into the midfield without that double pivot, there's no one to really get her the ball. So there was nothing, she's just kind of sitting in a space where she's not accessible. That's really the issue with where that was clicking. And it's why, again, it got so much better when you had the double pivot, which is really not even about like, and I think people misunderstand this sometimes because I've seen criticism of Corbin Albert's play on the basis that like she's not really advancing the ball, it's still going back, it's still this and that. And that's fair criticism. But the single most important thing a player can do as a defensive midfielder, and especially in a double pivot, is be in the right spot. You need to be taking up space in the right spot. And she was, and Lindsey Horan wasn't. So what do we do with Lindsey Horan from here? I expect I think she's in it for the rest of the tournament.
Yeah.
Do we move on afterwards? I think we gotta have a conversation and look at it. Because it's markedly not looking good. The game did get better when she subbed off. So that's hard. I think that's a really rough thing where like, you know, I feel a bit bad for her because I do think she's been a very misunderstood player. And I do think that people have like not understood her game because the US has never played her game. But now you've got a coach that is playing her game and it doesn't look good. And is that just a missed time? Is it, you know, is she just having an off spell? I don't know. But it's not looking good. I hope she has a redemption tour, you know, on Saturday, because I do think she'll still start against Brazil.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this. This is an old comment of hers, or from earlier this year, I believe, but she said that Americans have a low soccer IQ. So if you're saying that they're playing her game and it's not working, who's got is it an IQ issue? Is it a style issue? She was talking about fans, obviously, but I'm just curious about how that comment is living now.
Well, I mean, it's always been a little bit weird to have insulted your own fan base.
I know, yeah.
It's always a weird move. But I do think some of what she said was fair in that I don't think a lot of people understood her because they're not watching her play with Leon. And then she just gets out there and you're like, why is this person here? The way that the midfield was playing before and the style of play before that was quite direct. She is not somebody that provides that for you. But, you know, now we are doing more off the ball movement. We have more creative flows. Like she should really be thriving. It's just that, you know, her touch has been off, her recovery speed's off. Like a lot of things are going wrong. And, you know, again, could this just be a rough go for her? I don't know. Is she just particularly susceptible to the fatigue of this tournament and those challenges? Perhaps. But again, I think she still starts Saturday. We'll see. I don't think this is helping her case, unfortunately, you know, which is, again, I think there is something fair to the idea that she has been a misunderstood player.
Yeah.
She probably didn't articulate it great. And I'm sure, I just wonder, because, you know, she obviously, like, she, you know, made the comment about Julie Foudy in that same interview. And I'm just wondering, do you think Julie Foudy like is kind of a chip on her shoulder as she's
Yes.
talking about Lindsey Horan, because she hasn't been stories about Lindsey Horan.
Probably. Yeah. And I mean, I think it's just the plight of women's soccer overall. It's frustration, over people just prioritizing other sports over it. And here we are trying to help get more people into women's soccer specifically. And it starts with, the casual fan like me, who played soccer, cares about it, maybe only cares when it's the quarterfinal, semifinals, and the final game, but you have to start somewhere. And one thing I love about Lindsey Horan is I saw that video of her the other day that was going around of her comforting a Japan player after they had lost. And it's just little things like that, I think, that matter even more in some instances in the game of soccer, for me personally. Obviously, we could talk about tactics and all of that, but at the end of the day, it's a game that we all love or we all played, and some people just need to get back into it or learn more about it. So
Yeah, and I think as long as you can keep it accessible to learning, that's kind of the key thing. Like there should not be gatekeeping. This is the world sport. It is the thing I hate the most about when Europeans talk about it, because as we discussed last time, it's like they hear the American accent, they're like, "This isn't for you," and I'm like, "But why?"
yeah,
But why? Like it absolutely can be for me.
mm-hmm.
And then I also just remind them that I'm a dual citizen, which I again, I don't think that you're like less valuable in this space at all if you're an
Yeah.
American, but I also just think it's very funny where it's like,
Yep.
well, so,
Well,
um,
go ahead.
right, no, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, pivoting slightly, speaking of extra time, that save at the very end by the just narrowly a toe, it looked like.
Narrowly, use it in fun.
Oh wow, no, unintentional, but I love it nonetheless.
Yes. You should take credit for that.
Okay, I'm taking credit for it. But it was incredible, especially when you watched it in slow-mo. I mean, that was going in. But I think you thought, we were kind of chatting back and forth, that it might have been offside anyway.
Yeah, and I meant to go back and look at it before we taped this, and I didn't, if I'm being honest. It looked offside to me. I think it might have been. I think we give her the credit of the save because it was still outstanding either way, and it's always better to have the save than to be reliant upon an offside call.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you have the ball getting played back in there off of a corner, it's a lot of people moving different directions. So what I perceive can be different than what VAR actually shows. Those are kind of trickier, I think. So much nicer to have the save, but I do think it probably was offside if we go back and look at it, which is at least nice for us and also leads to like, I don't think Germany gets to claim it was a fluke, like this crazy save and kept them out. Although that kind of stuff is just always, it's like, dude, if you were counting on, you're going to sit here and complain because the other team got like a crazy save, like you should have had more chances than that. You're not really the aggrieved party at that point.
Right. And another case for bringing back golden goal, because Sophia Smith scored that goal early in extra time, and then we spent the whole rest of the time just having mini heart attacks.
Well, but I didn't. I genuinely felt like we had it once we had the first goal. Because, and I don't always feel that way, but Germany for me was not, outside of that one chance, there were not real threats. And you can go back and look, statistics in this game get a little bit, I'm always back and forth in statistics, but one thing I do like and care about is expected goals. And Germany's expected goals, for as like tense as it felt, were very low because our defense did a great job limiting the type of chances that Germany actually got. So outside of that last one, there weren't really any for me that caused me concern. And Emma got the subs like spot on. It was a perfectly managed, extra time substitution period. Jenna Neiswanger, I was scared shitless when she subbed in because I don't like seeing her and Emily Sonnet together, especially when we're now like holding a lead essentially. But Neiswanger was, because they positionally, they're both a little funky positionally, and you put them together and they start like compensating for each other in weird ways, and then there's only so much that Germa and Fox can do on the other side with that. So it's you can deal with like one person having funky positioning at a backline, maybe even two if they're not next to each other. But when they're the ones adjusting to each other, it's like two bad singers trying to harmonize. It's just no. So it just starts to go funky, and Nysar is newer at that position. Like she's got some learning to do. Sonnet has been playing it for club as a pinch hitter, but and has played it a lot in her career, but is mainly a midfielder as well. So there's just a lot of, I don't like them together on the same side. I felt much better when Casey Kruger came in because she is a very good defender with good positioning. But you also can't deny Jenna Nicewanger's balls in were like the best ones in the game, except for maybe like Germa. But she's got incredible service. She's such an asset in so many ways to have on the pitch. So I'm like, shit, man, like somebody get her like she's just got to sit there and do that stupid backline drill for a while where you just swing the ball around and like step and move. Like she needs to just go do that basic one that you learn when you're like 12. She needs to just go do that over and over, or like she just needs to drill this a little bit more like deliberately, and she's gonna be insane. So because I do think the harder skill set is the ball distribution there. The positioning, it's just thrilling.
Okay. Anything else? Any other hot takes?
The only other thing I'm going to say about this game is Julie Foudy. We got to talk about Julie Foudy. Julie, you can't keep mentioning the direct hit stat. We can't keep doing this. We are in pain. You seem to think that this is like a funny bit now, like you're in on the joke. And you maybe were like the second time, but you keep doing it, and you're misunderstanding. You're no longer in on the joke. We are all tired. It's like somebody who just was so excited to be part of an inside joke and they're taking it too far. So, like, somebody's got to tell Julie, like, friend to friend, you are getting roasted for this online, and not in like a endearing way.
Yeah.
We're tired. We're legitimately tired of hearing this stat. So, yeah.
What about her name for the front three? We talked about that last time. The Holy Trinity, the Trident, and hers was La Trois, Ooh La La.
I think that's too France specific. We're never playing in France again after this.
That's great. It translates too. But yeah, I agree. It's too specific to the moment.
And also, if she tried to push to the triad for a while, and then somebody had to inform her it was a Chinese crime syndicate, and I was like, so that's. Yeah, I don't hate La Trois Ooh La La. I don't, but I just again too specific to the moment. And there's been more reporting on the front three naming because U.S. soccer has gone full in on the Trident. Apparently, the players themselves have selected the Trident. And I don't love it. If you don't say the, then you're kind of left with the gum. So I don't love it. And the players are now revealing they're not as committed to it as it was previously reported, because Kristen Press came up with what was it? Shareable Trio or something? What was Triple Trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, Terrible Trio is not a good name. I don't think that's what it was. Triple Trouble was one I liked, but clearly it also didn't have staying power in my brain. And the players are like, well, if Kristen Press says it, then like that's what we are, which is fair. So Triple Trouble, it could be. I think there's room here. I think that what I'm sensing is there is still room to make a change. I don't think you can make your own nickname. That's just a general thing in life. I don't think that's true. Anytime I've watched somebody try to make their own nickname stick, it hasn't. So I don't think so. But I will see if Triple Trouble takes off. I think we gotta settle on something by the end of this tournament. I don't think this debate, it's gonna get exhausting if we're still having this conversation in October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, the thing with the nickname is it's gotta stick quick, we gotta just pick one and run with it.
Well, that's the thing is I'm a firm believer you can make even a bad nickname stick if you just commit hard enough to it. As the outside crowd. Like, I really believe that.
Yeah.
I firmly believe that. But like, we as a community need to come together and just pick one and basically bully it.
Okay.
Like, that's what you gotta do.
What's yours? What's your favorite?
I think I'm liking Triple Trouble. I think I'm gonna roll with Triple Trouble.
It's hard. I'll say it 3 times fast though.
Oh no, don't do that to me. I talk so fast and now I'm gonna Triple Trouble.
It's hard for me to say. Anyway, moving on, shall we?
So should we talk about Spain, Brazil?
Yes.
All right. So I predicted on live very cavalierly before this match. I was about as cavalier as I've ever been.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, Spain looks beatable. I'm gonna give myself the credit there because I've been saying that the whole tournament. But I was like, it ain't gonna be Brazil. Like, Brazil's been a mess. Brazil has not had anything cohesive really, other than their backlines played pretty well. And even then, they have injury trouble impacting them there now. So I was like, there's no way. And yeah, I was wrong. So my apologies to Brazil. I very much got that wrong. This was not close. When it went to 3-1, I did think Spain was gonna get back in there. Because if anybody could get back in there, it was Spain. They've already come back, they came back from 2 goals down against Colombia. But yeah, I got this very wrong. And the only other time I've gone, well, not the only other time, I've been wrong about plenty of things.
I was gonna
But
say,
I'm not gonna
wow.
say I'm not like always right. But my most public, I think, bad prediction was that I predicted Brazil would win the 2023 World Cup, and then
Oh,
they got grouped. So Brazil, I'm just not gonna talk about you anymore.
yeah. I think yes. We'll just watch it, see what happens.
Yeah, no, like it's been far off. But going back to the game, is this more on Spain having a rough game versus Brazil having a good game? I don't really know. I think Brazil finished their chances beautifully. I did think they had more chances than just the ones they finished.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're still sorting out the midfield there too and can't seem to decide on a combo. But I do think that the Yaya and Duda Sampaio combo for me has been the one that looks the best. It's the one that I flagged as I was, not sure how it was going to go at international level, but if it went well, great for Brazil. And when they're in there together, I do think that looks the strongest. But Brazil has, they've rotated a lot for better or worse. I don't know how much of that is intentional rest of the players versus not being sure what they're all pulling out of this. Spain, on the other hand, didn't start Alexia Putellas. Not great explanations for why. Monse, the coach, afterwards just basically said sometimes players don't start.
Okay.
Which, that's true. They don't. But you've got this proven big moment goal scorer, one of the greatest players of all time. And you don't want to start her and you want to start Jenny Hermoso instead. I get it. Fine. I can entertain why you might do that. But why would you wait until you're down 3 goals to put her in? Why are you not, why would you not put her in when you go down 1 goal? I don't, or, well, I mean, 1 goal was early, right? But at some point here, you needed to put her in and give her more time than the 77th minute to work her magic. And I thought she was impactful immediately upon coming in. So it was a strange decision. And one I think will be looked back on unkindly, but there's a lot to be talked about.
Mm-hmm. And Marta will be back on Saturday, right?
Marta will be back on Saturday. That's scary for the U.S.
Yeah.
Scary for the U.S. There's one other thing I think we should, 2 little things I think we should talk about with Spain and Brazil.
Okay.
The first is I'm just going to go on a quick rant about Jorge Vilda. I've seen this in my comment section on TikTok. I've seen it on Twitter. First of all, I don't know why anyone is rushing to defend Jorge Vilda as a coach, given the rest of the situation with the Spanish Federation. Well, people are now well, wasn't he a great coach? Look what he did. And first of all, he lost plenty too with that team. He lost, in fact, in the World Cup. I do think this team can generally coach themselves, but I also think this is a rough tournament where there's fatigue and a lot of things to manage. And you probably do better with a better manager. I don't think anything that happened, the idea that losing in the semifinal here is a testament to Jorge Vilda winning the World Cup is bizarre to me. You made it to a semifinal with a coach that's a disciple of Vilda, who is widely disliked by the players, mind you. I don't think anybody has positive things to say about Monse, really.
Yikes.
So I don't, the weird defensive Vilda now popping up, I don't understand it. Look, if he's that good of a coach, well, Morocco didn't even qualify for the tournament where he was coaching. So,
yeah.
I don't think this is let's defend Jorge Vilda time. And again, I don't really know why you're wasting your energy on that particular man. Go to bat for a different man if you're going to decide to go to bat for men. That's just not the one. So, Stephanie, this is one for you. I know you hear about sportsmanship, but we had poor sports in Spain, because they did not take this loss particularly well. There's been a lot of complaining about time wasting. And Brazil did timeways. Like that is true. And Brazil's done this for probably 20 years or so in the women's game. Like I can never do remember some US women's national team games against Brazil where the time wasting was pretty brutal. But I don't know. Have you seen Jenny Hermoso's comments after the game?
I didn't, but time wasting drives me nuts.
It does. It does. But she basically said in Spanish, we conceded, well, I have an actual translation here, so I'll get with you. We conceded 4 goals to a team that, for me, doesn't play football. But at the end of the day, what counts are the goals. They study us, they know how to hit us and play behind our backs. For me, it's not football. I don't like that kind of football. Obviously, the game, and it's they make you waste time, and from them, that was worth it. They're in the final. We're going from bronze. I think it was our mistake. We didn't play our football. I liked our second half, but it was difficult with the 4-2 lead. It was difficult with 4-2 to be a call-in. So I feel like half bad, half good. Like I think if she had just said like the last 2 sentences were fine.
Yep, I agree. It's called over-explaining.
Well, but it's like, well, also it's like, listen, like everybody time wastes, man. Like, do I think the Brazilian team went to a level that had not been seen at this tournament so far? Yeah. And again, I've seen them do some insane stuff. Like I've seen them get a stretcher out for a player and then watched her jog off. Like I've seen that. Like that comes back from, I forget. Oh, I want to say that was part of, I don't think it was 2007. I want to say that was like, I don't think it was 2007 World Cup. It might have been the Olympics. I have to go back and look, but it's somewhere, crazy. Maybe it was even earlier. It's somewhere in that 2000s window. Where they were just rough with it. But I don't think you get to whine like this though if you lose. Like you like, because again, I don't think the time wasting was the issue. Like you guys didn't play defense.
Oh.
You know, I just like pick a struggle. It's not the time wasting. You didn't lose by 1 goal.
Take a struggle. I like that. I'm gonna use that in my life.
Yeah, so and it's just always, it's interesting to me because the US team has gotten such flack for their attitudes in the media. And with one very notable exception being, of course, Hope Solo in 2016 when she complained after losing to Sweden when they parked the bus. Other than that, I cannot think of a time that a US women's national team player has publicly been a poor sport. So.
Yeah, me neither. Because they would have to answer to me.
Stephanie would let you know that she's not here for your poor sportsmanship.
No, I can't stand it. Cannot stand it. Especially in the Olympics. I don't know. I feel like the Olympics is just something different. It's just, I don't know. I'm all for being competitive, but.
Yeah. There's like a special camaraderie, I think, and like acknowledgement of how cool it is to get to be there. Like,
yeah.
How many different types of athletes and yeah.
Yep.
So, all right. Well, I think we've talked about that. So, some random things people are asking, will alternates get medals? The answer is no, unless they were rostered. So Hal Hirschfeld not getting a medal, Jane Campbell not getting a medal. People have asked if Anna Hayes can add them to the roster for just this final, so they know. To which my question is already high. Like, I know, like, it's not, she's not going to add 2 different players to the bench to get a medal, and also she can't swap them because you would have to have a medical issue to swap them. You can't just swap in your alternates. So, that is not happening. I listen, like, I'm sure Hal Hirschfeld and Jane Campbell would like medals, but they're just not going to get them. You do not have to have actually played in a match. You just have to have been rostered. So Jade Shaw will get a medal. Emily Sams can get a medal. But that is the circumstance here.
Okay.
So with that, the bronze medal match is Germany versus Spain. That is happening Friday at 6 a.m. West Coast, 9 a.m. East Coast. I'm probably not watching this live. I just am not. I don't really care for the 3rd place matches. And I know it's the Olympics and winning a bronze medal is a different thing. I just don't care for them. Nobody remembers 3rd place. And I'm sure it means something different to the players. Maybe, I don't know. But I'm firmly now rooting for Germany because of the poor sportsmanship with Spain.
Yeah, I agree. Me too.
Yeah. All right. So come on, Germany.
I know. We'll wake up and see see what has happened.
Yeah, like I'm almost always up anyway, but I'm just
Same.
I'm not giving it a lot of energy. Like I might
Yes.
just turn it on in the background. Like I'll
Yes.
watch it later, maybe. I'm not sure how like informative this is gonna be for me tactically with like other things that I care about.
Yeah.
Just because it's far enough off from like Euros. But I don't think I need a lot of information that would be like helpful for thinking through how that goes. So yeah, I'm probably skipping it.
What you won't be skipping the gold medal match on Saturday.
No, of course not. So Saturday, 8 a.m. West Coast, 11 a.m. East Coast. This is for me a win-win, if we're being honest. Like, let's just talk about the grand scheme of things with the U.S. Women's National Team. We already exceeded expectations making this match. People thought we were getting grouped. I think we said bare minimum was making the semifinal. We did that. We're playing for gold.
Yeah.
I do not think there is any, obviously we want gold. But if we lose this match to Brazil, I am personally fine with that. I think that's still a great outcome for us to have gotten this far. And you get to watch Marta get a gold medal.
Is this her last game?
Internationally.
Okay.
For Brazil. Allegedly. I think she looks good enough. Maybe she can go to 2027. We'll see. If they're a home World Cup, like maybe, but that's asking a lot. And I think Marta's pretty like realistic about where she is and like what her legacy is going to be, and not wanting to oversay that.
Mm-hmm.
This is a rematch of the CONCACAF W Gold Cup final, which the U.S. won 1-0 off of a Lindsey Horan header. So again, hoping for that Horan redemption arc. What do we expect here? Same starting lineup, I think. Brazil has rotated again, like we discussed, the best of any team this tournament when you look at who's had minutes management. Is that intentional? I don't think so. It's looked chaotic to me at times. And it's also a lot of like forced rotation, which is similar to what's happened to the US, where you've had injuries that have necessitated that you rotate. So, are they going to be better rested? They certainly looked better rested against Spain. So regardless of how they got there, they do look a little springier. I don't think Brazil is going to be able to punish our backline the way they punished Spain. We have the best backline in the tournament. You're not going to get the chances you got against Spain. And I have not seen them. They were able to capitalize on chances Spain gave them, and that was also true against France. I have not seen Brazil really creating many of their own chances. So, they'll get some from us for our midfield, just because I think that's still a struggle. But I like us in this matchup. I'm very okay if we lose and if I'm wrong there. And again, maybe I shouldn't make a prediction. Maybe I should say Brazil's gonna win it, because that's when
Well,
because how do you Brazil?
How do you think they're gonna match up against Triple Trouble?
So they have a very strong defense too. I think Tarciane has had a great tournament, and and these are two teams with a lot of NWSL players. It's a lot of players with big familiarity against each other at club. Naomi Girma has been the best player in this tournament, but Tarciane would like a word. Like, I think she's had a very good, strong defensive tournament. She's a fun player to watch. She's a great defender, but she's also just like very expressive. So you get a lot of good like meme content, which I love.
Okay, that's always good.
Yeah. But I also think they still conceded goals, right? So I think Tarciane is gonna have a work cut out for her. I think the injury to Rocca's gonna really it's gonna be a problem for them. So I don't know. I think we will. Triple trouble is gonna cause some trouble.
Okay. Mark your words. Just kidding. We're not gonna be marking any words anymore.
No, you can't trust me against Brazil. You can't trust me. So I'll just, just to try to give it the full reverse jinx. I'm like, Marta's gonna win gold.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I've been so wrong about them, and
Yeah.
I love them. I want to see them win something. I want to see Marta win a gold. So and I think that's kind of the nice thing here. I think all U.S. fans feel that way. I think and again, like, not that you should ever be satisfied with silver or just making the final, but I think given Emma Hayes only had this team for 6 weeks before, given what happened to us last World Cup, given you've had to do so many different changes, and we've also had a lot of challenges this tournament, I just think this is already to me a win. So gold is icing on the cake, and if Marta gets gold, I am totally fine with that.
Okay. You heard it here.
All right. I guess we could talk about Summer Cup real quick, because I know we're running long today. Because we decided to talk about a bunch of non-soccer things at the front. But it was fun. We had fun.
Yeah.
And if you didn't, again, just fast forward. You can
Yeah.
skip that part. You can it's always choose your own adventure. So quick summer cup updates. We had the semifinals yesterday. ACSU lost to Gotham 1-0. Kansas City Current beat North Carolina 2-0. ACSU was one of the teams least impacted by Olympics and by Claire's being on. They had a good tournament, but it looked back to the way they've been playing previously, which was rough. So, disappointing for me. I know it was hot. They kind of had to play midday in Kansas City.
Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
On the Kansas City Current, San Joaquin did San Joaquin things. So, the weird thing now is that it's a summer cup with a final on October 25th.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
yeah. So Gotham and Kansas City Current will play on October 25th. So you
Okay.
will forget all about this, and then everyone will go, "Oh yeah, that."
You'll remind us.
Yeah.
You'll remind me. You'll have to remind me.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all we have for you today. We'll be back after the gold medal match, of course. So this is a reminder: like, subscribe, follow, share, comment. Maybe you will spur a random conversation on this podcast with your comment. You never know.
Yeah.
I have not received any news that we are not the number 2 soccer podcast in Kenya. So until I receive news that we have slipped from the right heat or risen, I'd like to know who number 1 is. I will continue to tout that stat. So thank you as usual for listening to us, and we'll see you all next time.